everyone, welcome to another episode of This Too is Torah. This time I'm really excited to be talking about my newest pop culture obsession, Project Hail Mary. I haven't walked out of a theater feeling the way I did after seeing this movie in like a really long time. This movie is amaze. Once again, a disclaimer that this video is going to have a lot of spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie or read the book, I would strongly advise you to bookmark this video, go and do that, and then come back and watch this video. Okay, so back to Project Hail Mary. Based on the novel by Andy Weir, the same author as The Martian, this sci-fi story begins with a quiet, terrifying premise. The sun is dying. A mysterious substance called astrophage is draining its energy, and scientists estimate that within 30 years, all life on Earth will die out. Enter Dr. Ryland Grace, played by Ryan Gosling, a high school science teacher who wakes up from a coma, on a spaceship, alone, with no memory of who he is or why he is on the ship. Not exactly the kind of field trip he signed up for.
Please let this be a normal field trip!
As his memory slowly returns, he realizes that he's on a one-way mission to study astrophage in a far-off galaxy and send back information that might save humanity. A literal Hail Mary. And as if that wasn't bonkers enough, something even more unexpected happens. He encounters another ship. And on that ship, an alien. A rock-like, five-legged, surprisingly lovable alien, who he names, of course, Rocky. And suddenly, this sci-fi survival story turns into a delightful buddy comedy. It's a story about connection, about trust, about two beings from literal different galaxies choosing to work together to save their planets, and, in the process, becoming something like family. Now, I know what you're thinking. Sci-fi, aliens, apocalypse, space travel. Where exactly is the Torah in all this? But don't worry, I got you. At its core, Project Hail Mary isn't really about space. It's about what it means to be human. And that's where Jewish tradition steps right in. In the second story of creation, after God creates Adam, God pauses and says, Lo tov hayot ha'adam levado. It is not good for a human being to be alone. So, God creates Eve as an ezer kenegdo, a partner, a counterpart, someone who stands with and against, who challenges and completes. When Grace wakes up, he is more alone than Adam ever was. No garden, no animals, no talking snakes, no other voices. Just silence and the slow realization that everyone else on his ship has died. But then he meets Rocky. His ezer kenegdo, if you will. Not a human, not familiar, not even remotely similar. But exactly who he needs. And suddenly, life has meaning again. Pirkei Avot teaches, "B'makom she'ein anashim hishtadel lehiot ish." In a place where there are no human beings, strive to be human. Grace finds himself in a place where there are literally no humans. And yet, through Rocky, he discovers his own humanity. Throughout the film, Grace is trying to piece together this identity. As he gathers new information, he adds it to a whiteboard that at the top reads, "Who am I?" in big caps lock letters. But then there's this powerful moment when he is on his way back to Earth, but realizes that Rocky is in danger, and he has to make a devastating choice between going to save Rocky or returning home to Earth. He, of course, turns the ship around and goes to save Rocky. But at that moment, he erases the whiteboard and starts working on the calculations to get him to Rocky's ship, inadvertently answering the question, who am I? Who is Ryland Grace? Ryland Grace is a friend. He is someone who is willing to abandon his own dreams to save the life of someone he loves. It beautifully echoes another Hillel quotable. If I am only for myself, who am I? The rabbis of the Talmud put it even more bluntly. Chavrutza o mituta, they say. Friendship or death. Honestly, it could be the tagline of this movie. Because that's exactly what we see. Rocky risks his life to save Grace. Grace gives up his chance to return home in order to save Rocky. Their bond becomes stronger than survival instinct. Stronger than fear. Stronger than the pull of home. There's one last scene I want to talk about, and it's one of my favorites. When Rocky discovers why the Tau Ceti star isn't dying, he has this classic eureka moment, and he starts repeating in his wonderfully imperfect English, "Life is reason, life is reason." On one level, he means that life on the planet Adrian is the reason the star is being saved. But on another level, life is the reason. Full stop. And that idea, that's as Jewish as it gets. In Jewish tradition, we have a principle called pikuach nefesh, the obligation to preserve life above almost everything else. The rabbis teach to save a single life is to save an entire world. Grace and Rocky don't just believe that. They live it. For each other, across galaxies, across species, across everything that should separate them. So yes, Project Hail Mary is a story about space travel and alien encounters and saving the sun, and Ryan Gosling wearing glasses that hang off his face in a way that is so charming it should be illegal. But it's also a story about companionship in the face of isolation, about discovering who we are through the choices we make for others, about the idea that life, connection, relationship, that's the reason. And if that isn't Torah, I don't know what is.